There's a caravan coming in from Honduras, and it's on its way to Dr. Bob's house.
Next on AM 1480 WLEA, the Newsmaker Show. Here's Ryan O'Neill.
Honduras may look pretty good to him here in another month or two.
Well, we'll get to that later. Less than 3 weeks to the election.
Well, I think, people are beginning to pay attention, and I think the polls are beginning to show a certain amount of gelling there of attitudes and choices. I think New York stands out as an outlier, as it often does, and the election in New York, Cuomo continues to increase his lead, and again, I think part of the problem is Molinaro is, I think he's basically out of money. The real problem in New York, two problems basically. If Cuomo is running with a huge margin, the question is the effect it has on the down-ticket offices. Now, fortunately, Cuomo, the polls I see still have Cuomo running behind Molinaro in upstate New York. Even though you can see daily Cuomo is pouring money into grants and all kinds of other state forms of largesse throughout western New York. It really is pretty gross in a way. But he's timing that to just before the election, which probably will help him in New York. But I think, fortunately for Republicans, he's not going to run that strong in western New York. So people like Reed and Collins and perhaps a few other Republican incumbents will be able to hang on there. But the other aspect is, of course, the state Senate. And, of course, some of the seats that are in dire straits are out there on Long Island and downstate. And that, is where you would expect Cuomo to run pretty strong. So that's going to be tough. And if Republicans lose the state Senate, then the Democrats will have full-bore control across the board. And hang on to
one thing that I think would happen then is SAFE Act 2.
Could be something like that. And the unions maybe gain even more privileges, and the legalized marijuana and a whole range of things that frankly we really don't want to see. But frankly it's going to be tough to hang on to the state Senate. Hopefully we'll be able to pull that off, but combination.
Have you talked to Senator Young about that? Any insights from Senator Young on that?
I haven't talked to her recently, no, but she, of course, is working very hard.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get an interview out of her, but on the one hand, and on the other hand, I think I don't want to bug her now. She's got to be really busy.
Yeah, she's her days have had to be packed with. And the other side of it is she's not neglecting her constituents here in her home district. I think she'll be meeting with us Saturday night over in Cuba, the big annual Republican fundraiser for Allegheny County. And she and all the other candidates will be there. And, I mean, she's very, very good at that. And anybody with any sense, and you can see situations, Eric Cantor, for example, is one, where they don't spend that much time with their home constituents. They're out doing shows and working with other candidates. Next thing you know, they lose. Now, I'll give Congressman Reed a lot of credit. He spends a lot of time in this district in town hall meetings and such.
Yeah, so Reed and Young both.
I'm sorry?
Reed, Young, Palmisano, O'Mara, right. Giglio, the list goes on.
Yeah, no, they're very careful to keep their constituents nearby, and that's important.
I was wondering if you had any thoughts on how this Barbara Bear, Marjorie Burns race is going to work out. I've asked them both, and I think I've asked it twice, actually, because I forgot I asked the question the first time. And I've had them both on twice since the Joe Arrigo accusations popped up in the news. How do you think the accusation against Arrigo is going to affect voter turnout?
I think it is going to lower it. Yes. No, I think that's a good question. Boy, it makes me mad when people say that. Well, that's a great question. Well, that's a fantastic question.
That's a stall
technique. What do they think?
Sometimes.
I'm chopped liver? Of course, the question's asked. No, that's a good question. I think the turnouts, you're going to see the turnout drop there. I think people are really turned off by the whole situation, and it might help Bear, frankly, pull out a victory there. So it's, and the thing moving nationally here,
yeah.
I see a few, everybody says that the problem the Republicans have are the suburban women, the well-educated, etc. women. And I think there's some truth to that. Obviously, with Trump's nasty comments and such, it's turned a lot of women off. But more and more, I see that a lot of these women just aren't going to vote, and I think that that's probably true. They're kind of disgusted with the whole thing, and they don't see any reason. On the other side, they've got Trump has made huge strides in a lot of areas, some of which are important to, obviously, women as well as men, and that one of those is, of course, peace and keeping our troops halfway safe in the world. And so, he's got a lot of accomplishments there, even though he's distasteful. And I think the easiest way for a lot of these women is just not.
Do you think Trump is a turnoff to women coming out?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But the thing, the races are beginning in the Senate are beginning to firm up, and I think increasingly the Republicans think that they're going to pick up a few seats in the Senate. And this one in New Jersey, which I've been watching a little bit, still has Menendez up by 6 points. But again, that's narrowing. So I think that seat's one of those seats that they hadn't expected is going to be in jeopardy. And they're pouring huge amounts of money in there to hang on to Menendez. And then some of these other seats, like Tennessee, is tightening up. Cruz is moving ahead in Texas easily. Missouri, I think that the Republicans are ahead in Missouri as well. So, of course, Texas and Tennessee both were Republican seats to start with. The one in Missouri, McCaskill, is a Democrat seat. And the one in Indiana, that candidate is the incumbent there is a Democrat right now, too. So there's a number of spots there where I think the Republicans think they may actually pick up 2 or 3 seats. As for the House side, again, you begin to see that tightening up. And one of the most recent generic poll I saw from Rasmussen, who tends to be toward the Republican side, had it basically dead even, the generic poll. And I was listening to someone the other night, a Republican strategist, who said that in the 61 seats that are kind of toss-ups for the House of Representatives, the generic poll had either the Democrats or Republicans, I'm not certain, up by 1 point. So that has tightened up considerably, and that is, to the Republicans' advantage. There's no two ways about that. So, again, some of these Republican seats in New York State, Katko and Faso, and there's a lady, is it Tenney? I'm not certain what her name is. Those seats, I think the Republicans will be able to hang on to them, but I don't know. And then you got Collins up here who's running under indictment. But that doesn't bother New Yorkers that much. I mean,
getting back to a point about people staying home or people getting out there as far as the voter turnout goes. Tom Reed and Marjorie Burns both say that in talking to people, they hear a lot of complaints from voters about the way that Kavanaugh was treated. Now,
Right.
will the tough treatment that Kavanaugh got get voters out? If so, from which direction, and which demographic, male or female?
I think it's going across the board. Is going to get people out. I told you, I think, the previous show that the people I've been running into, boy, are they honked off. And I think that's going to linger. Well, and then you have, in some ways, the Republicans would be better off just backing off and letting people like, what's this guy from the senator from New Jersey?
Cory Booker.
There you go. Just let him talk. And the same with, was that Pocahontas or Elizabeth Warren? They're out of Massachusetts. I think she should be allowed to tell the rest of the country what a solid Native American she is. I mean, everybody just sitting back, thinking, where's this going? I mean, talk about identity politics and taking.
Yeah, and it was kind of gone for a long time. I don't know why she brought that up.
I don't either, and
Trump wasn't talking about that at that point.
No, well, he's not going to let this go. Are you kidding me?
Not now.
No. I mean, Democrats are shaking their heads like, we don't need this one. We got Hillary Clinton running around, Maxine Waters, and now we got this. I mean, it's an embarrassment. So let them go ahead and continue to. You're much better off in that respect.
Mark Molinaro's jumped on another issue. Homeless veterans in New York State. He feels that the state is not doing enough for homeless veterans. He says New York is home to over 800,000 veterans, the fifth largest veteran population in the U.S., and more needs to be done for them. Will that resonate with voters?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there are too many homeless veterans that vote. And, I think it's... I think the veterans are obviously sympathetic to his concern, and certainly I would be too. I think what Molinaro is trying desperately to do is to find some issue that will get legs, so to speak. And certainly Louis Farrakhan, are you kidding me? Just push him off in the corner and throw a wastebasket over him where he belongs. I sympathize with Mr. Molinaro. I do, but
I was just reading online that Molinaro's having a harder time than Astorino did.
Oh, absolutely. No,
why so?
I think. First of all, I don't think Molinaro has the name recognition that Astorino had. Astorino had been county executive, I think, for at least certainly one term, and maybe 2 terms of Westchester County, which is a good-sized county. Plus, he'd been a Christian talk show host for quite some time, and he had things put together pretty well. And I think he lost by only 5%. Now, I'm not certain whether the SAFE Act came into play there yet or not in that situation. Plus, didn't Cuomo have somebody else on the working families line in that election? I'm thinking maybe he did. Or did he? No, he got the working families line by promising to support Democrat candidates in the Senate.
Yes, that was how it worked out. Then
torpedoed him. And the state Senate, unfortunately, the Republicans did not support Astorino at all strongly, because they had, I think, a deal with Cuomo to hang on to their seats. So that hurt Astorino a lot. Now, whether what I'm saying is actually true or not, I certainly don't have any solid evidence on it. But no, Astorino ran a very good campaign, and he had money and etc. But I think the problem is Cuomo has been building and building and building, and it's pretty tough to take him on at this point. You're going to need somebody with a lot more name recognition and money, and I don't know who that would be.
Dr. Bob, we're late on the break. We'll be right back.
Oh, I'll wait. Sure.
It's October, and the holidays will be here in no time. So now is the time to get that new floor installed before the guests arrive. At Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering in Almond, they stock over 400,000 square feet of flooring. If you need carpet, vinyl, laminate, or hardwood, Mullen's got it. Quality and durable floor coverings. And your new floor can be installed by their professionals right now with no box store wait. Special financing, including 0% interest, is available too. Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering in Almond. Stop by and let them floor you.
So checking in with meteorologist Rob Killen. Rob, tiny little bits of snow last couple days, not a whole lot, but it has been cold.
It has, Brian, kind of a sign that we have certainly changed the weather pattern where we were running milder than normal the first 2 weeks of the month. That's certainly not going to be the case as we make the conclusion of October over the next couple of weeks. Pattern has changed dramatically. The warmth now settling out over the western United States. What we've got is a cold front headed our way, Brian. It's producing rain this morning from Michigan all the way down into Missouri. It'll sweep across the area tomorrow morning, and then it's going to bring in cold enough air that we're probably going to have to deal with some cloudiness and precipitation coming off the lakes. We're getting into that time of year. Today should average out pretty nice, mostly sunny up to about 55 to 60. Sunrise this morning, not too long ago at 7:29. It'll set tonight at 6:21. Tonight, clouds will increase. A few showers are possible after midnight, 40 to 45. Front goes by tomorrow with a couple of showers. We're 50 to 55. Showers will start to mix with and change over to some snow flurries tomorrow night, lows 30 to 35. And then for Sunday, a lot of cloudiness coming off the lakes in the cold air. We're only around 40, and we could see a few rain or snow showers during the day on Sunday, Brian.
Back with Alfred University emeritus political science kind of guy, Dr. Robert A. Heineman.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Brian, for reminding people.
Dr. Bob, that caravan on its way, the Honduras caravan. I saw a video on YouTube that claimed, and I don't know if this has been verified by the major media yet, but this video claimed that this was taken in Honduras, and it showed somebody handing out a lot of big wads of money to people as they were climbing aboard.
I see.
I don't know if this is a real thing or not. Different people have tied George Soros to this kind of thing before. I don't know that they've tied him to this one, but they have got the one in May they did.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what kind of money were they handing out. I hope it wasn't from Venezuela because...
I don't know what country.
That's not going to go too far.
There was no close-ups.
I think, Ryan, you better start checking into the...
I said, it wasn't verified.
Yes, indeed, yes.
But a lot of political commentators on the right are saying this is completely political. These people aren't just looking for a home, that their roots are liberal in the country that they come from, and that they're going to come in and vote Democrat.
Well, they're not going to come in, first and foremost.
They'll never make it.
Are you kidding me? There's no way Trump's going to let those people come piling across the border. So I don't know.
And then they'll find a way to make him look mean.
Well, absolutely. But I hope they don't fix bayonets to stop him. But they'll find ways to stop. No, they're not.
He's promising to cut off aid to this, that, and the other country down there south of the border.
Yeah, which I think
happen.
He will do. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's strange. I mean, the world is getting a little complicated out there. Let's try to keep it simple here in the United States and just keep re-electing Republicans. That would be all right, yeah.
What do you make of that theory, though, that a lot of these groups that were busted originally by Obama starting that to get to bring in Democrat voters?
No, I don't buy that at all. Yeah,
that wasn't the point?
No.
Why was Obama bringing people in?
It wasn't. I think the point here was that Obama was lax on the border situation. I'm not certain he was that lax, frankly. But the idea that, no, that's absurd. But once they get in this country, obviously, there's a tendency to be a lot more sympathetic to the Democrat side, but for example, I can't see where the unions are terribly excited about letting a huge surfeit of undocumented aliens in here because they undercut the union wages and everything. So, that's absurd. Why don't we go on to something else here, Brian? Anything else?
Okay, well, back to the election.
Oh, I see.
You
okay.
think that Trump has hurt the Republican Party with women voters, and it's going to be tougher from segment one? And but do you think that the left, with all these agitator groups, Antifa punching people and throwing urine in people's faces and whatnot, is going to get maybe some of those people who thought of staying home back out? Or how do you think
it may. I think you're absolutely right in the sense that the left, in terms of sensible Democrats running around, there just don't seem to be many of them left. This idea of going to the streets and such, I don't think that plays all that well with Americans. Now, let me say with Trump and women, too, there are plenty of women supporting Trump, but they're not your suburban upper middle class type women or your so-called well-educated women. But they're not stupid, that's for sure, and they know where they stand on a lot of these issues, like abortion, gun rights, and some of these education. I think these women are mothers and active in a lot of churches and things of that sort. I think you're going to find generally they're pretty supportive of Trump. So the idea that somehow women across the board, but it is true, the polls show that when you get to the female side of the polls, Trump's support drops off pretty dramatically.
Final question for you today, Dr. Bob. Bloomberg and Drudge report that there was a big fight in the Oval Office area of the White House between Chief of Staff John Kelly and National Security Advisor John Bolton. 3 people told this to Bloomberg. They saw this episode. They were yelling and shouting at each other over immigration and border crossings and the kind of job that Homeland Security Undersecretary Nielsen was doing. And they said that Nielsen was there. This is just breaking late Thursday afternoon. The argument goes that Bolton criticized Homeland Security and Kelly defended Nielsen. And they say a lot of clashes. They say that this clash is reflective of the two polar views there.
Yeah, well, I don't know about.
Do you believe this?
Why do you ask me these questions? Do I believe? I think that Bolton will ruffle a lot of feathers, and again, I'm not too impressed by his appointment. But I think Kelly's done a very good job, and he's not going to let Bolton be the tail that wags the dog in this situation. Now, how they plan this all out and what they come up with, they're going to have to come up with some sort of plan, and you can bet they will. And it will probably involve the military, the National Guard, whatever. But I think, frankly, if Trump moves on this, which I think he will, politically, it will help the Republicans quite a bit. So I don't know what's behind all this idea, and it's
not as if Bloomberg doesn't lean left and wouldn't love to report on a fight.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I've noticed that Drudge lately has been a lot less sympathetic in his coverage of Trump.
I have no idea on that.
You're not a Drudge guy.
No, I read Drudge regularly, but I wouldn't say that it's I just wouldn't be able to say on that. But the point here again is you got I don't know how many thousand of these people come from Honduras. Why not another couple 100,000 from El Salvador, Nicaragua? I mean, you can be sending train loads from all kinds of different countries. So we have to come up with some sort of policy here. It says, you stop here and that's it.
Dr. Bob, we are out of time.
Well, okay, let's hope things settle down before we meet again. Will we be meeting?
By the way, and I probably should ask this off the air, but because I'm so on...
Oh, well, maybe we should wait till off the air, Brian.
You want to commit election night? Tuesday, November 6th.
I'll have to think. Maybe I can get some students to come in. All right.